Okay, so it's been a few days since I was in here because when I wrapped the electrical tape around and tried to push it to seat the seal, I'm pretty sure that the circlip has only seated in properly one side. I almost feel like the electrical tape just put a lot of pressure kind of in the middle, but I need to kind of get around the outer edge a bit more. Sorry, it's gone blurry, you can't actually see that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put electrical tape round behind the old oil seal and try and push it in that way to see if I can get it seated a little bit better to put the circlip on. So I'm still not happy with this. I think the side where the bolts are, the circlip isn't completely in the groove, and there's a part of me that just wants to carry on assembling the fork back together and ignore it, but I know that's not the right thing to do. Okay, I'm going to try something else. Rather than wrapping electrical tape around it, I found an old silicone tube that I've just cut down, which I'm going to slide over the top and then try and hammer this in to seat the bush in place. I've still got the washer over the top, so I'll be pressing against that, and hopefully that will work a little bit better than using the electrical tape. So now the bush is in, I'm going to use the same method by putting the silicone tube over the old oil seal, which I've also cut a slash in just to try and make that easier to get out rather than it getting stuck. And then I've got my husband out again, so we're going to put on a couple of bits of wood on either side and then use mallets to try and put the, well, to try and seat the new oil seal.
3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so we end up just hitting the bit of wood straight onto the old oil seal like this with a mallet rather than using the plastic tubing because that just didn't seem to work very well. And now it does look like the old one, sorry, the new one is seated much better than it was before, and I can see the groove all the way around the outside. So I'll try and put the circlip in now. Much more happy with that, looks so much better, definitely more seated than it was before. I just realised the new dust seal that I put on is different to the one I took off. I don't know if that's going to be a problem or not. What do you reckon? I did put in the model of my bike in a year online, but I've got a feeling they've sent me the dust seals for maybe a slightly older model. I put it on anyway. It seems to fit fine, but yeah, let me know if you think that's going to cause any issues. Okay, now I need to put pressure on this and fit the retaining clip after, which I'm going to need help from my husband again. So I decided to put my forks back on the bike before putting this on. My number one tool is, sorry, that sounds really bad, isn't it, calling you a tool? I mean, like, you know, a really helpful tool. It's going to push down for me and I'm going to put in the circlip.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so that's the cap back on that one. I'm not going to replace the oil seal on the left fork just because this one wasn't leaking originally. I was thinking about doing them as a pair, but then I ended up using the second oil seal in this fork when I kind of buggered up the first one. So I've just replaced the dust seal on this one instead. Okay, so I've never had this before where the dust seal's gone rusty. So I'm hoping that it's not affected the other components behind that. I'm going to try and scrub it with a bit of WD-40 and then see if I can prise it off, because at the moment a flathead isn't making it budge at all. Well, that was absolutely gross. So WD-40, giving it a good scrub round and then leaving it off with the flathead worked, but that is horrible. There's a little bit of corrosion inside as well, so I'm going to give that a clean and then see what it looks like. Well, I'm hoping that's going to be okay. I put the new dust seal on and then we'll just see what happens. I'm going to put it back on the bike. If it leaks, it leaks. But I think that's the best I can do with the existing oil seal in there. I've already drained the fork oil from it. And now I'm going to try using a tip that one of my subscribers left in one of the comments about keeping it at centre stand, front wheels all back on, and just putting a little bit of pressure on the plug with a mallet. So I've got one here. And I'm going to try and do this myself this time. So I'm going to push down. And then I've got a bolt that I'm going to wedge in between the top plug and the handlebar to try and keep it in place while I take off the circlip. Okay, that wasn't too bad. There's now a tiny little gap between the circlip and that top plug. So I'm hoping that's going to be enough for me to just prise that out.